Love a punt and want to support the locker room? Click the link below, sign up and inbox me for details, and you can be dealing directly with me for a catered betting experience. Sweet. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am here with Tia Claire. Two-time second in the world for CrossFit. Also Rio representative in the 58 weightlifting. Yep. I mean, talk about a resume. How have you been since you've gotten back from Rio, and how have you been in general?
Yeah, pretty good actually. I surprisingly having 7 weeks away, being away for 7 weeks from home. It actually probably took a little bit out of me. Not the competition side of things, but I think just being away from home, period, was a bit tiring. So to be home and back with my family and my friends, it's actually been really, really great. And a lot of athletes talk about how they go on these trips and there's like a massive high, and then when they come back to reality, they feel a little bit down. But I actually haven't been at that stage yet. So
really,
yeah, I've actually really enjoyed just coming back home and chilling out for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, because whenever I used to go away for running, as we were talking earlier, and footy, I'd get home and I would just be so depressed. I'd be like, honestly felt like a breakup. It felt like a breakup. Yeah. So it's cool that you got home and you enjoyed it. I guess it would be, for you personally, you would have been training so hard in all these different, because would you still kept up your CrossFit training as well as training specifically for the weightlifting? Yeah,
so basically I do both every day. So CrossFit, weightlifting is a large component in CrossFit, which actually I find complements each other, which is why I kind of do them both. And I also find that weightlifting is actually a bit of a weakness of mine in CrossFit. So every time, my partner, who's my coach, Shane, he'll program in specific weightlifting movements for me to perform every day in training, and so I'm always getting that weightlifting component done every day, as well as my CrossFit. So I don't find that training for both jeopardizes my performances or anything like that. I actually think that they complement each other. The only time that I think that probably may affect my weightlifting a little bit would be when I'm maybe doing like the 5k runs or the 10k runs for my endurance for CrossFit, but very rarely do we really kind of do that. It's kind of just around the games when you're really kind of working on your endurance.
And I mean, how does a girl like yourself, or a lady, get into CrossFit, and I guess also weightlifting? Were you just a naturally gifted athlete, did athletics and all that kind of stuff, grew up in Queensland, Nambour? Was it a general progression of I'm an athlete, I'm doing weights to supplement the athleticism, I'm really good at this, kind of weightlifting, kind of athletic overall system, how did it all kind of come about that you would get into CrossFit and ultimately weightlifting as well?
When I was growing up, my parents always had me in a number of different sports, from team sports to individuals, and I would say that athletics was probably a major sport of mine that I kind of really wanted to thrive in. And I went to boarding school and still did that, but I probably more so focused on getting into the university and making sure that I was focusing on my career rather than my sports. So when I went to uni, I actually had a bit of time off from any types of sports due to obviously just not financially being able to support myself. And I realized that, I wasn't actually happy because I wasn't, doing my normal routine of, training and having some competition on the weekends and that type of thing. And actually, my partner and I, we moved up to Gladstone, and in that time I deferred from uni and decided to get a job, and also decided to start training again. And Shane actually made a comment like, okay, well, maybe to improve your fitness a little bit faster, let's go and join this CrossFit gym, because it's meant to be really, really good for your training anyway. So it kind of led from there, and I started this CrossFit.
Sorry to interrupt, but what were you training for?
I was training for 400-meter hurdles.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it was I did do 800s and 1500s before that, but then I decided, I might just change it up a little bit.
400's torture. Why would you do that to yourself? It's literally the most torturous race out of all of them.
It is actually pretty hard, yeah. But I do find, though, that I wasn't as fast just to do a flat 400 or to do a 100 or 200.
Oh, okay,
I didn't
I
have
mean,
the speed,
high speed kind of
but I also didn't really want to run any more than one lap. So I was like, okay, well, let's, I'm all right with the 800. So
Yep.
let's back it off
Yep.
400 meters and let's jump over a few hurdles in the
man.
middle of it. So, and it was
400.
different.
Yep.
I was looking for that different side of things. So, so started doing CrossFit and doing my running training and everything like that. And I started to CrossFit. I'm very competitive. So I found I was quite competitive with myself and wanting to always, do a bit better in that workout whenever I went to CrossFit. So, I'd go in the morning, I'd be like, oh man, I didn't do as good as what I thought I would. So then I'd go back in the afternoon and try it out. And I started realizing I was having a lot more fun in the classes at my gym than I was running around doing laps on the oval by myself. So, I was like, well, I might as well do something that I really enjoy, and I found out that you could do competitions with CrossFit, and
What year was this?
This was in 2013.
Okay, so fairly recently. So CrossFit was already not peaking, but at a big...
It was, yeah. I would say probably 2010 was when it started to really take off.
Kind of thing,
It obviously was going before then, but when people started realizing, but I only found it in 2013. So one thing led to another, and it came to my Olympic lifting, where that was actually a little bit of a weakness of mine. So then Shane and I found a specialized coach in Olympic lifting in Brisbane, and then I guess one thing led to another there, and that's when I started both of them, and I kind of have just been following that ever since.
So, so you started the two simultaneously kind of thing. You didn't start CrossFit and then fall into weightlifting, and you didn't start weightlifting and fall into CrossFit. No. It was kind of like a dual thing.
Well, I started CrossFit, and then I started CrossFit in February, and then I went and did this individual comp in September, and from September I realized, okay, well, if I really want to kind of pursue this individual sport, it's not it was just I really enjoyed being an individual in the sport. And I decided that, okay, I need to improve in my weightlifting, and then that's when it kind of happened. So I was doing CrossFit for a few months before I actually started competing for weightlifting.
And I guess you would have already been relatively fit when you started, your first CrossFit session, even though it would have probably been a slow progress into you'd been maybe doing high reps of something, and then high reps something else, and then before you knew it, you're like, oh, why don't I just do a CrossFit circuit? But is there any funny stories of maybe the first time you did your first circuit where, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a number of things where, so many, so a couple of years have gone by now, and you think, wow, from where I was when I first walked through these doors to where I am now, just times have changed. And I remember, my coach would come up to me, and this was just the class coach, and they would come up and they'll be like, oh, maybe you should scale to this. And in my head, I'd be like, excuse me, do you really know, I can push myself? And so, that's me thinking I'm very confident and thinking that I'm fit. And then halfway through the workout, I'm just like, oh my God, I should have listened to them.
I do it all the time, still.
And then in your head, you're just like, oh, do not show any weakness. You can do this. And, you're trying to, keep this really straight face, that you're not hurting at all. And then, obviously the next day you're just walking in a little bit sore and tender, and this coach is kind of smiling at you and said, you should have listened to me. But, I know that we always joke around about, I never could ever understand what the snatch was or what the clean and jerk was for 6 months.
Really?
I just was like, what is a snatch? And then they'd be like, it's this one. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do it. All right. And I was always that one. I was probably that person that would come into the gym and all the coaches would be like, oh, she's here again. Because I'd always want to try and do the heavier weights. I'd always want to try and go harder than what I would be capable of. Which in the long run has kind of, it's kind of gotten me to where I am today. But, it was very frustrating at the start. and you just get into these, like I did a snatch and I went into a lunge and 3 coaches are standing right in front of me and I'm looking at them like, it's okay, I got this, and they're just like, oh my god, I hope she signed a waiver, and like, so there's a number of stories that I could talk about.
I can imagine, especially it sounds like you're one of those people that there's just kind of you just don't put limits on things and you're constantly challenging yourself. So where did this come from? You grew up just a standard family. Everything's sweet, everything fine. There's no hole trying to be filled or anything like that. Or just
not
standard?
really. I think like my mum and dad, they always urged me into doing whatever I wanted. So I actually grew up on a cane farm on the Maritcha River. Yeah, a little bit. On the Sunshine Coast. So it wasn't too far out of civilization, but. I was brought up to, I guess, face your fears and always try new things. And, if there was something that was going to scare you or kind of put you off, to kind of face up to it and do whatever you could to overcome it. And, I think that that's something that I really value from, my mum and dad teaching me that. And, like, we grew up on motorbikes and driving boats and water ski, like just all these outdoor activities, and it's sometimes those activities that are quite daunting, and for some people they don't get those opportunities. And I think that's kind of what has built me to kind of, I guess, try new things and always be open to I guess developing as an individual. So it's actually been, like, I'm very, very lucky to have that guidance.
I grew up not as far into the country, but on acreage and just, I mean, at the time I constantly whinged about not being closer to the thing, and now I look back and I'm like, that was so perfect of an upbringing. Like, I could not have asked for a better upbringing.
I know,
Like, if I have, it's going to be the same thing. If I ever have kids, they're going to complain about being out in Thingo. They're going to grow up and be like, man, it was so beautiful, so peaceful. And something that, like, a lot of friends that grew up in the city that I know, is they don't understand the feeling of fully being private on your, like, you can walk outside in your undies and it's not an issue. It's not an issue. You could literally walk around all day and there's no issue there. But I truly regret not appreciating how good we had it. So do you have any, I mean, do you have any, state champions for running or anything like that, or like a record that you know? So
in 2000, I went to a little primary school which was on like a little ginger farm on the Sunshine Coast, and we had a sports teacher that would do all these sporty activities, and he actually got me into run cross country. And when I was in grade 6, that's when I probably first started being quite competitive in my running. And every year I made that goal of making nationals every year, just so I could collect the pins from every little state around.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
that's crazy.
It's awesome, isn't it? And I still have those pins, and those memories got brought up when I was over at Rio, because we went and we had all our Australian pins and we were trading them over with all the other countries.
So I've not thought about that in like 15 years.
So, like, and being able to train, like, or actually just go and go to Hobart for a competition was just a crazy, traveling to go to any competition and represent your state was just
gear and everything.
It was. And God. My mum, she was that mum that bought the gear that was 2 sizes too big so that I could fit into it for like the rest of my years, right? So
I'll get hand-me-downs from my older brother.
Well, I was the oldest, so my sisters are still fitting into the uniforms that I was fitting into.
Shitty old, this like all shit and faded. I'm that guy in the team walk at the start, opening ceremony. I'm in the shitty faded Queensland kit.
At least it wasn't probably too big for you. That's true. And I was like, Mum, please. And one year I was like, nah, I'm going to have a shirt that actually fits me. So I went in and I ordered it myself. Nice. And then I got it and I was like repping it out. I'm looking actually bought it too small for me, but I was like, nah, I'm determined. I'm going to wear it.
Oh, man.
But it's like, so, my dad, he would coach me. back in the day, and he would, make me go do running and everything like that, and he'd take me to states and get me to nationals, and then that was when Mum was going to travel with me. So she travelled with me to South Australia and Hobart and just all these other other states, and it was just really awesome to do that, because that's kind of what you waited for every year to go and represent, and it was just something so amazing, in primary school as well and secondary school. So. Yeah, it was a real honour.
I know it sounds crazy, but I feel sorry for the kids that didn't get that. Like the kids that were just going to school. Like, don't get me wrong, some people are naturally not just gonna, but not even trying. Like South Coast and district and all that stuff. Like, actually, you wouldn't have been South Coast. You would have been South Coast was the best, no one in Queensland.
And
actually,
yes,
you would have been the Brisbane
Sunshine
district.
Coast.
Sunshine Coast. Oh, please, Gold Coast and that would have towed you up every year.
I don't know. See, I didn't really pay very much attention to that. No,
I did. I was fully team orientated.
Really, isn't that interesting?
About South Coast. It was always, I think it was Brisbane South, or something that was good. It was always good. Anyway.
Well, see, I actually moved. So I was based when I first in primary school, Sunshine Coast, and then we moved up. In 2006 to Weipa for my dad's job. So we were up really north. So I was in Peninsula, and then for the last 2 years of my school, I went to boarding school in Townsville. So then I was in Central Queensland.
Okay,
so
Townsville,
I had 3 different uniforms and stuff, and I was just like, I'm so cool, but getting around a little bit.
Trader.
Yeah.
Come on. Can't be wearing the tracksuits with pride and changing every year.
You can really tell that I'm an individual, right?
Man, I remember the Townsville tartan track that was out there. Was it Townsville? There's a tartan track there, hey?
Yeah.
The Queensland
Championship.
Championship.
Right next to our school, actually.
Really? Queensland Championship used to always be held there, man.
And it's really hot.
Really, really hot. I ran a 400 on... Yeah, man, that was good times. Anyway, it's on to you, not me. Okay, so when was it, you're doing CrossFit, you're doing weightlifting. When was the time when you really said, I'm genuinely okay, not okay, I'm good at this, I love it, and I want to do it for a profession?
Yeah, so it wasn't really something in my mind to do it as a profession, because I actually had a full-time job working for Rio Tinto at the time. Yep. But that was working shift work, so it actually allowed me to have 5 days off and then 4 days on working.
What were you doing for work?
I was actually a lab technician in the lab in the mines in Gladstone.
Oh wow!
Yeah, okay. So it was really great money for my age as well, and definitely. So I thought I had it pretty good right there, and I was able to train on my 5 days off and stuff. And then in that September when I went to that individual comp, Shane and I, we trained up for it, and I didn't expect anything about it. I just was like, this is my first individual comp, and I'm just going to go in, have some fun, and go hard. Yep. And I came first. Wow. And so that there was that just gave me a taste of just how amazing it actually was. And to come first, I was really unexpected, and then that's when I was like, I really want to kind of follow this through. And so, I had a lot to develop on. One, my strength, my gymnastics skill. The only thing that I really had behind me was just being athletic and being able to kind of push through mentally as well. So I guess one thing led to another, and I tried to just develop through my training. And the following year, in 2014, for my 21st birthday, we decided to go over to the States and actually go and watch.
For my 21st birthday.
21st birthday.
So many other
went to Las Vegas.
Went
to Las Vegas, and then went to the CrossFit Games to watch, and just was such an inspiration. It was. That's when I was like, I want to be here. Yep. I don't want to come here to watch and spectate. I want to be here to compete. Yep. And in that time as well, it was kind of like, well, if I really want to take this on board, I need to actually start taking my training seriously. Yep. And then I got the opportunity to buy into the gym that I was training at, which is CrossFit Gladstone. And I bought into that gym in at the start of 2015, and quit my job at Rio, and then have been training full-time and running my business. So...
what was that? To leave a job that
was so secure.
And the sky's the limit for someone like yourself. You're clearly a hard worker. To be in the position
Yeah.
you're in is I mean, because I did my industrial apprenticeship, like my electrician apprenticeship,
Yeah.
in an industrial above ground mine at the Helensburgh mine, and you wouldn't know Helensburgh, and anyway, in a coal terminal. So I know. I get a sense of like the ranks you can climb,
Yeah.
and the potential career earnings is crazy in some
Yeah.
of those mines. So to leave that,
Yeah.
was that huge and a hard decision?
It took 8 months for me to actually decide.
What
Because-
a risk. It's such a big risk.
Oh, it seriously
Yeah.
was. And I didn't tell my parents because I was like, Mum, Dad, like, I've been offered this opportunity to leave Rio and go and own a business, like, you know, start a business with some random as well. You know, like, you never go into business. You
Yeah.
just, like, you kind of, everything was like, don't do it.
Recipe for disaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I just started realizing that, well, if I want to go and do something, because the Olympics was on my mind, to be able to go to the Olympics and obviously the CrossFit Games. And I was like, when am I ever going to get this opportunity?
Yeah.
Later in life, I'm, 26, 27, 28. I probably want to start a family, like Shane and I, we've been in a relationship for like 9 years now. So it's a really long time, and I'm not going to be as young, so my training won't be as great. I won't be able to recover as well. So, and I spoke to Dad, and I was like, Dad, I really want to do this. And he goes, well, Tia, like, now's your chance if you really want to. But in saying that, also, Mum and Dad wanted me to make sure I had a career happening
Safety
for
net kind of
myself,
thing.
and that I wasn't going to set myself up for failure as well. And it took 8 months, and I finally made a decision. And I was like, look, if it doesn't work, at least I know I tried.
Yep.
Whereas if I didn't try, I'd always be wondering for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
and
100%.
it's worked out.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the guts are so... I just love hearing stories like that, because people that aren't in the system don't understand the career earnings that are possible for a young woman like yourself that really works hard.
I did try. So, like, I went to the company and I was like, look, this is what I want to do. Will you guys give me, a specific leave, like, off kind of thing, so that, like, a certain amount of time off, so that I can go and train full time and potentially go to the Olympics? Could you sponsor me somehow? Like, is there options? And there wasn't any. And then I was like, well, I'll work part time. At least I'll still have an in for the company if it doesn't go well.
Step back up
and then I realized that wasn't going to work either. And so I was like, I'm just going to have to do it, because I did night shift as well, and night shifts, and then, I have to train straight after night shift, and I'd be tired.
So bad for your body.
As soon as I finish shift work, my training, my recovery was just so much better. It was just incredible.
Shift work, they reckon, they've done studies on it, like 40 studies, and they reckon people that do shift work have like a 20% more chance for all of these life-threatening illnesses. Like, they reckon it's so bad for your body.
Yeah. It puts, like, my dad does it, like, my partner does it. He does it, and, like, you definitely do it for the money.
100%.
And it does help you out. But at the end of the day, I guess, you can only do it for so long.
Yeah.
And, hopefully,
It set you up, though. Like, doing that gave you the opportunity to buy into a gym. So
it really did.
It's a double-edged sword kind of thing. But when you buy into the gym, and I can relate to this feeling, because when I was working 60 hours a week in a coal terminal whilst doing this when I started.
Yes.
And I was also an apprentice, so I was getting 29-year-old getting told what to do by absolute.
That's a whole new topic.
Yeah, we'll just stay away from that. And the hard thing was, I'm like a pretty physical guy, so like it's just a whole different environment. Like in rugby league, like if you have a problem and like there's usually there might be a little bit of a scuffle, and that's the end of it. Whereas at work, it's not like that, especially if you're an apprentice. Anyway, it was nothing ever happened, thank God. But anyway, so I can relate to the feeling. So walk me through the first few weeks of when you said you're done and you started your own gym. What was that relief feeling like, and how much did you enjoy it?
Oh, I don't know if I would say it was a relief.
Really?
so Shane was obviously there right behind me,
Yep.
supporting me the whole way. But I walked into a business that needed to make changes. And
That's
it was a
good,
gym. So it was a community where, friends were like almost family. And I guess like I had to make critical decisions to help the business, like I guess ramp back up.
Yep.
And those decisions were really hard decisions that meant that I needed to let people go from coaching positions
Yep.
in order for myself, my business partner, and for the gym to kind of actually start running like a really successful
Have a good business model.
That's right. And those coaches were my friends. And I actually I actually lost friendships out of it, which was really, really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And, even to this day, everything happens for a reason. And, as hard as they were, they've kind of helped me learn a lot of things along the way. But right now, where the gym is, like it's taken, it took heaps of time to kind of get the gym to where it is, but I couldn't be more happier. We have such a great community where I work now, and everyone is just really behind me. And when I was over competing, even last year and competing this year, I have so many people, like they're messaging me and like they've been with me along the way from the very get-go, you know, and it's actually just so rewarding because it's people that, they actually like really, really care. And it's actually a really special thing, and you don't realize it until you actually sit back and good things or bad things even happen. And then you really realize, who your true friends are, and I guess who really cares about supporting others, and who
who's
want
a
to
friend
kind
of
of be there.
circumstance and who's friends.
It's
I lost. I mean, even starting this, I lost friends, and I didn't even do anything just because I was successful.
It is, and it's unfortunate like that. It really kind of, I guess, it brings the worst out in people, but it's a way of kind of glad that you've seen that before. Maybe it kind of went a little bit too far, and oh man, like it really was a really hard thing for me because I thought I had lost lifetime friends, but unfortunately, but it's worked out for the best, and I couldn't be more happier.
And that's something that I wanted to ask you about. What is it seems like, a CrossFit gym, there are so many different moving parts, but it seems like it's a very family orientated thing. It's, don't get me wrong, it is about the CrossFit, it is about being healthy, but it's also about bringing the best out in the people around you, whatever that may be, in however scenario possible kind of thing.
Like, so I walked into my gym for the very first time, not having very many friends, or I had friends, but they were probably the wrong type of friends. They were the friends that they went out every weekend, just friends that were going in a direction that I really didn't want to go into. And I did go there, I guess, in a way because, they're the only people I kind of knew to hang out with, right? And when I started CrossFit, I realized, I can actually relate to these people. Like, they're coming to the gym for different reasons, but for the exact same reason as well. So, I find as a coach, I tend to find out why everyone kind of comes to my gym, like that's my job. Like, why are you coming to me, and how can I help you? And I have people that have suffered depression. I have people that and that's depression for being overweight. That's just mentally not feeling good about themselves, going through stress from work, going through stress from family. People that have come in and they've just basically, their whole family is broken up or someone's passed away. There's so many negative reasons why people come in and they walk through our doors, and then they kind of can forget. It's our job as coaches not only to kind of help them, motivate them to get healthy and do these exercises, but to forget about all that negativity out in their lives that they deal with every day outside of the gym. And it's actually really rewarding. Like, I just had a lady who, she has just suffered from, I guess, like just depression.
Yep.
And she's only been with us for a week, and she's so radiant. Like, she's just smiling all the time now.
That's
when
awesome.
she's, coming into the gym, and she messages me, like, because, you got to create that relationship. And she's messaging me and saying, how much she really loves, just how much it's been important to her, and how much, she's gotten to know other people and other mums and all that. And it's actually really rewarding as a coach to hear that. And also, you're developing friendships, so it's actually amazing. And some people say it's a cult, or some people that they've never experienced it.
Yeah.
It's not a cult. It's just where people can relate to other people, and you're there to help each other as well. So it's just, I guess it's an area where people can kind of forget all the negativity, and kind of bring out the positive in each other, and it's beautiful.
And I guess also, for hundreds of thousands of years as humans, I mean, this is getting a bit deeper into the problem, but we were part of little societies that sat around and talked to each other and did things together. It's like now we're so isolated, and we just, we're on our little computer, and I mean, I'm guilty of it friggin', every week, but, it's that factor of bringing people together and just conversing and just being together.
It's
as
crazy.
People. It's,
Shane proposed to me at the start of the year.
Oh, really?
So,
congratulations.
Thank you. So now I have to sit down and figure out my wedding. But the biggest thing for me is actually figuring out who I'm going to invite. Right.
Yep.
So I have so many members, like over 100 members, and then you got your family and stuff. But but I need to invite these people, and you're like, but that is a lot of people to invite because they're all my friends, and you develop such a strong relationship with them that you I want to experience, I want them to be with me on, such an important day.
Yep.
That's incredible. You can't really get that from anywhere else. And I'm sure that there's definitely places that you can, but, it's something special, and I'm just I'm going to have to go on elope because I won't be able to afford to have all these people at my wedding.
You just go back to work and work, do shift work so that you can get them your wedding. So you went to that first competition and you won. How long was it? So, part of you, and you went to Vegas and you said, I want to be there. Yeah. But then when was it actually this is a reality? Not just, I want to be it and it's a pipeline dream. When was it a reality of I genuinely have what it takes, genetically, physically, mentally, everything, to be one of the top girls in the world in CrossFit?
I would say, 2014, I went to regionals, which is the competition you compete at regionals, and you got to try and get in the top 5 to go to the CrossFit Games. And I came 17th in 2014. And after that competition, I actually was I don't want to do this anymore, because there was a workout there that I was really confident in. And I failed, and it really broke me. And it took me a year to get over it, And it would be 2015 when I was in the Open. So that the Opens is where the CrossFit series kind of starts. And that's where everyone in the world can log online, and they can do these 5 workouts over 5 weeks and try and get in the top 30 of their region. So we're the Pacific region. So you compete against everyone in the world to get into the top 30 so that you can go down. Online. Yeah. So you take a video. If you are an athlete that you're pretty confident that you're going to get a pretty good score, you film every workout that you do, because you get to work out. The workout releases on the Friday morning, and you get until Tuesday morning to perform this workout as many times as you want. Then you log your score online at thecrossfitgames.com. And then from there, you do that for 5 weeks. So, there's a different workout every week. And if you have come in, say, the top 30, then you have to log whatever video that they want. So they might say, hey, we want you to show us that workout from 16.3, which is the 3rd week.
Yep.
And so we'll have to show that video to show that we're doing the reps, everything, making sure everything's clean.
You get that many people lying. Do you get like just yeah, did it, yeah, sweet. All
They
right.
do, but they do come out like, you know, they'll get caught out eventually. And then those top 30, they go down to Wollongong to compete at the regionals. So it was actually week 3 where I was like, you know what? Stuff this. I'm going to actually do this, and I'm going to go to regionals, and I'm going to go to the CrossFit Games.
Yep.
And that's when it was. So it was like 15.3. And it was in March sometime.
So you went from coming 14th at your regionals the year before.
No, 18th.
18th at the regionals the year before. To
coming 3rd.
That's just, you know, did you just go, I'm just going to buckle down and train as hard as I can? Was it a huge increase in training?
It was more mentally.
Oh, mentally. Okay.
I did learn a lot in that competition.
Yep.
So, you know, you learn so much that there's so much you can do physically, and you can train and everything, but then it's a whole new level when it comes to your mental capacity.
Yep.
And you need to be there mentally. So I would honestly say, you know, you need to train really, really hard for the CrossFit Games, but when it comes to the CrossFit Games, you need to mentally be there. You know, you could prepare, like everyone can train as hard as they want, but if you're not mentally there or mentally prepared to compete for every workout over those 5 days, that's where it kind of lets you down. And it's such a mental game, and you could ask any other athlete there just how much you get in your head. Like, you know, there was a few workouts there that I was like, oh my God, like I'm getting tired and I don't know if I can keep going. And then your results show. Yeah. But then if you're like, come on, just snap out of it. You're only here for 5 days, and you get like, you know, real focus. And all of a sudden you start nailing exactly what you needed to do out on that floor. And it's all in your mind. Like the mind is the most powerful thing. You know, if you can set your mind to anything, you can do whatever you want.
100%. I mean, I know this is an extreme example, but look at the Buddhists that like light themselves on fire and just sit there. Sit there. And if they can do that...
That is a very extreme situation.
Sorry about that. But it's kind of similar to doing 100 deadlifts.
It seriously is, you know.
Because you're pushing, all these things in your body are telling you that you should stop because this is bad for you right now.
Yeah.
Or not bad for you, but, you know, your body's in danger of overheat, whatever it is.
Your body can do anything it wants. It's just your mind that's stopping you.
Yeah. My mind stopped me plenty of times.
Oh, don't you worry. I did a workout early this morning. I was like, yep, we're happy to stop.
Okay, so you get third in your region, but I mean, that's a far cry from second in the world, you know, so because you're still relatively young in the sport of, like, you've only been doing for 2016, so 2.5 years max?
Yeah.
And to get second in the world, I mean, that's insane, because, like, all of these things, like technique, like, let's say you've got perfect technique, doing something 100 times, you might use only 60% of the fuel you need. Whereas if you've got 80% technique, you're using 100% of your fuel.
Yeah.
So those things that you just need time and repetitions to get, you never would have got.
Yeah. So I mean, like, there's so many things, you know. I guess that's what training's all about, and like that's what I did. Like, I had to up my training immensely from regionals to the games, and I think the thing is I went in there not knowing what to expect, but also going in there with such an open mind about it all that I didn't put pressure on myself, which is what a lot of people do, and they put so much pressure on themselves, and all I was focused on was just having fun and taking in the atmosphere, because you never know if you're going to be back there again next year, and it's the exact same thing as what I did this year, you know. I didn't care. Like, of course you care about not being better than what you were last year. So obviously for me to be better, it was to get on top of the podium. Yep. And I came second again. So, but when I look back at the way things went, I actually performed better across the board compared to what I did last year. So I was actually quite happy with everything, you know. Initially, I was a little bit gutted with coming second this year, and it's actually interesting the different emotions I felt from last year. I was crying with so many emotions and so happy, and just could not believe that I was able to hop on that podium.
It's crazy. Second in the world.
And then this year, though, it was tears of disappointment, you know, and I was so honoured to be back on the podium again this year, but to come second again, it was actually something like it actually really,
Roger.
it really, I was really upset about it.
I mean, but to get there, you've got to have this attitude. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that, there's no great. I've never seen any great athlete that's like, oh, I got second. That's actually really good. Most of them are like, nah, fuck. That's, you know,
yeah. And see, the thing is though, I didn't go into that competition thinking I'm going to win this and everything. I went into that competition knowing I have a job to just perform to the best that I could.
Yep.
And that's what I did. And it just wasn't good enough this year. And, you know, I'm going to do that again next year. And hopefully, I really, really hope I just get to that CrossFit Games again. And so that I can go and compete. And this next year, it's actually being held in Florida. So, you know, it's a different area, different atmosphere. Like the heat, humidity, everything over there is going to be completely different.
Yep.
But it's all very exciting. And I just hope to get over there for one.
Yep.
And then once I'm there, you know, you just got to do what you can to kind of do the best that you,
win. Yeah. So the first year that you did it, you came third in your region, but then you come second in the world.
Yes.
Wow. So, I mean, what was
don't ask me how I did that because I still don't know.
Oh, man. I mean, talk about a feeling of elation. Because there's not a single...
I was on top of the world.
There wouldn't be a fibre in you. There would have been maybe a couple fibres that like, maybe I could get close to winning this. Like, you never would have been close to that. And then you're like, you're getting through the work, it's like, oh shit, like, I'm winning, I'm coming second, I'm winning. Like, what was that whole experience like? You know, walk us through the whole experience of like what you were thinking and feeling.
Yeah. So that last workout last year, I actually had tears in my eyes leading into it because I was like, oh my God, I'm in the last heat, you know. I was just so, I was just so happy. And I was sitting fourth. And all I just wanted to do, I was so happy to just come forth and I would be just wrapped. And I just didn't want to come anywhere under that. And there was 2 workouts, one after another, so that I'll kind of like speed workouts, and got through one and then got through the other. And I actually, you don't really know where you're going to be placing, even though there's girls that may have beaten you. It's all about the points.
Yeah.
And when I finished those 2 workouts, I was like, oh my God, I've come 5th. I actually thought that I dropped from 4th to 5th.
Yeah.
And I was so gutted. I was like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Anyway, so, you know, congratulated the girl that came first. I was so happy for her. And then we walked back in the tunnel and everyone's, you know, congratulating the guys that came first. And here I am, like, I was happy, you know, because I was just so wrapped. I was like, wow, all I wanted to do was just not come last. Yeah. And I came 5th. Awesome. And then someone tapped me on the shoulder and was like, Tia, do you realise where you just come? I was like, oh, 5th, I know. You know, like, I'm really happy about that. But, and then they're like, no, you came second. And oh my God, just like, I was so, I honestly felt like I just won the lotto. Like, you know, it was just something that I thought I was actually more happier than Katrin winning first, which is what, $275,000. And I was just, I came second, you know, like it was just such an amazing experience. And that's why it's so amazing to feel those feelings last year and then feel the feelings that I did this year. They're so different. They're at the different end of the scale, you know. And it's something that I'll never ever forget. And that's why you train so hard. That's why you sacrifice going out, you know, on the weekends or going to the movies or, you know, going and doing the normal things that everyday people do. Those feelings there just mean so much that you want to do those sacrifices and you want to train as hard as you can so you can do that.
And, you know, so when you would have come second the first time, what was you would have been used to a bit of media attention, but you would have got a lot more media attention when that happened. You know, this young rookie has just come out of nowhere and come second. What was that like for you?
Well, to be honest, I still am not really used to it because, like, I tend to kind of walk into a gym and be like, oh, hey, how are you? I'm Tia. And then they'll be, oh, we know. And I'm like, how do you know? And then I start, you know, but last year it wasn't actually as big as what everyone probably thought it would, because everyone's like, oh, your life's going to change. And it didn't really. And I find that probably because I live up in Gladstone, which is 6 hours north of Brisbane driving, it's like I'm in my own little bubble.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you pursued it, it could.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
If you pursued it and had like someone really taking advantage of those situations, 100% it could.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But I guess you more enjoy the craft.
See, well, I always have been a big believer in letting my results show.
Yeah.
But then in the same sense, you know, like I love being able to kind of, you know, tell my story and, you know, kind of try and inspire the younger generation to just do whatever they want to do. And because, you know, anything's possible.
Yep.
But whereas this year it's a little bit different. So I think, you know, I've proven myself that I wasn't just a fluke, because that was a big thing last year. I was standing on that podium thinking, I don't want to come back next year, because what if I don't do as good as what I did this year? Like, how do I back this up? Whereas this year, I proved not only to everyone else, but I proved to myself that I can actually do it, and it wasn't a fluke last year. So, this year I'm a lot more confident in talking and being like, yeah, you know, I'm second fittest in the world, because like I'm really proud of it. But I know it's like proper, like
you've
I've done it twice, you know.
Exactly.
It's not just a
lot of young rugby league players have a similar situation. Like they'll play like 10 crazy good games, but they don't want to go near the media because like, oh, I don't feel like it's just 10 games. Like, what if I start playing bad? And then they go
and
on.
It actually puts, you know, it puts a brake on your career in a way, because you do get a little bit frightened of making, you know, I guess making those mistakes. Like, you should just embrace it all, really. When I look back at it, I think I should have been like, wow, like that's pretty incredible. But at the time I was like, oh no, like I've got to do this again.
Okay, so walk us through the second time you come second. Was it the same girl that won it or no?
Yes.
Oh no! What's her name? Is it the
Katrin.
blonde? Is it the blonde girl?
Yeah, and she's a beautiful girl.
Iceland?
Iceland.
Yeah. Iceland. See, I know my CrossFit stuff.
Yeah, you
do. Okay, so but she's a taller girl though, isn't she?
She's
bigger?
much taller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
she's quite lean this year.
Yeah.
Very very much taller. And it was actually the first time ever that the first, second, and third were the exact same as the previous year. Actually, it was first, second, and third, and fourth.
Wow.
We were all the exact same.
So competitive. But I guess it's also interesting to see, you know, your body shape and her body shape, and you are neck and neck, and yet they're completely different. It's just crazy. Yeah. So the second time when you come second, and it was down to the wire. Walk us through that last exercise. and so okay, just to. You can put people in there. What was the stakes that you were playing for in that, training for, or I don't know, performing for in that last exercise?
So I was competing. So all I had to do was beat Katrin in that last workout to win, and I did do that. So you know, just leading into that last workout, the emotions that were running through my body, like last year I was scared, whereas this year I was also scared, but I was so nervous inside because all I wanted to do was just do it really well. And also, like, all I wanted to know was what was the verdict going to be. And there's just, it's just crazy. And then you've got the atmosphere of everyone just going nuts and screaming at you. And this workout, you know, like your body has so much adrenaline running through you. You do not feel sore or you don't feel tired or anything, but your body is so tired and lethargic that you just don't realize it, but you're trying to push as hard as you can. And you actually, you know, it's incredible. And I just went out really hot. Like, I went crazy. So, because I just needed to beat her to win the CrossFit Games. And I was going to do it. It was the last workout. I was going to leave nothing in the tank. And I managed to do that. And when I finished, it wasn't like I guess in my way, I beat her, but I don't know if I won. And it took, so the workout finished and everyone finished and the competition was over because we were the last heat. And they took 10 minutes to decide, to put all the points together and decide who was going to win. And throughout the whole workout, I was looking into the crowd because my partner was there, and he was telling me when to go and stuff. Because in that workout, it was is a workout where we had to climb up pegboards, and that's something that you don't just go out and you do them one after another. You need to strategically have like that right amount of rest, because if you go too early, you may fail. But if you go too late, well, then, you know, someone's obviously going to pass you, you know. So you got to make sure you time it perfectly so that you're getting every rep whenever you're attempting it. And Shane had Shane had put everything, calculated all up, and he told me I came second, and I just actually bawled out crying. And I walked over to Katrin, and we still didn't, nothing was announced, but I was just so upset because I just felt like I'd put all the hard work throughout the whole past 5 days, and I just couldn't hold on for that last little bit. And even though, you know, it was up and down throughout the weekend, but every day I'd go home and I was still on the top of on the leaderboard. Yeah. And, you know, I was like, I'm meant to win this year, you know. Yeah. I've done all the hard work. I did everything through the season and everything like that. I wanted it so badly. Like, I didn't realize it, you know, training for it, but when you're there, you really are trying to fight put everything into it for it. And I was like, oh, well done, Katrin, because, you know, like, she's such a beautiful girl, and, you know, we are actually like quite good friends and stuff. And I was happy for her, but I was just so disappointed for myself. And those emotions were really hard to hold back. And then, you know, it got announced, and because I was like, please tell me that Shane's wrong. Like, please tell me, please. Yeah. Like, and I was hoping that, you know, that he was wrong, and then they'd say my name and I'd be like, oh my God, this is awesome. Yeah. But, you know, obviously that didn't really happen. But
do you have any thoughts in your head that you remember of that in that last exercise that you were thinking as you're doing it, as you're going up the pegboards or anything, or was it just you weren't even thinking, you were just going?
I wasn't really thinking, I was just going, and like, I knew I was in front of her though, so I was like, I got this, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna finish it to the end. I'm gonna put everything in. Because, you know, like, I think even if I was going to win, I would never hold back. And there was actually a lot of talk in the media that, you know, oh, she's gonna hold back in the games because she's got the Olympics 2 weeks after and all that. And it's like, no, I'm not. One of my goals when I first kind of wanted to do these sports was to make the CrossFit Games and the Olympics in the same year, and I'm not holding back, because there are so many girls out there that have, like, would die to, you know, kind of compete at the CrossFit Games, and I'm not going to take this for advantage.
100%.
You know?
And so walk us through that. You know, you went to Rio, and you know, you had a strange, it was a weird article, very negative article written about you. Did that kind of initially, like, because the thing is, that journalist doesn't see every day that you wake up in, like, blood, sweat, and tears, literally, like, put your body through.
It is actually literally.
That's what I mean. Like, it literally is blood, sweat, and tears. They don't see all of that. And yet, for them to have the audacity to question it was like questioning your
capability.
Capability, and that you even, like, that you weren't mentally there, or, you know, honestly, it was a weird article. Like, reading the whole thing, it felt weird, but
I think,
how was that for you? Was that frustrating?
There's a number of things that, you know, like, as far as I'm concerned, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and, you know, if there are people out there that think that, you know, I don't deserve to be where I am, well, you know, that's their opinion, and they're totally entitled to that, but they have no idea how much I have sacrificed. Not only have I sacrificed, but how much my partner has sacrificed, how much my family, my friends, my gym, like, how much everyone around me sacrificed in order for me to go and do what I want to do. And one thing I think that kind of made me upset about all of that was when I seen my family read it. I seen Shane, but I seen my mum and my grandma read it, and it actually brought tears to their eyes because they're so proud of me. And it never affected me because I can look past all of that. Like, people can say so many negative things about me, or, you know, about the sport that I'm in, But I can always overlook that because as far as I'm concerned, I don't really care what other people say.
You're actually doing it. You're not talking about it.
That's exactly right. And that's something that, I don't believe everything I read in the media and stuff. And that's what I was saying. I said, guys, you got to understand that they do this so that they can,
Sell papers.
sell papers. That's exactly right. And I said, it doesn't matter what he thinks about me. All that matters is if, what you guys think about me. And if you're proud, that's fine. And that's all I care about. And to see that they were so torn up about that, that's what really upset me. Because I never have seen someone, people react so hurt by an article about me. And that's what was so sad. And I guess the CrossFit media and the weightlifting, Facebook went nuts. And to see all the support that I received from that, it was beautiful. It was from a negative thing, but so much positive came out of it because I seen so many people commenting about how much they actually appreciated me and how much I helped them. I didn't realize how inspiring I could be to so many people. And, if I can do that, well, man, that's incredible. And I'll do whatever I can to I'll keep training and doing what I'm doing so that I'm helping those others to inspire them. And I guess it kind of showed just how special, the sport really is. And not just CrossFit, but weightlifting as well. And also another sad thing about that article was he wasn't just bagging me out or, saying negative things about me. He was saying negative things about people that actually do the sport themselves. So, people that do CrossFit, when you refer to people doing bizarre movements, well, it's not really bizarre movements because everyone does suicide sprints in some training session, and
any professional athlete does.
Handstand walking on your hands is not a bizarre movement, So there's another a number of things that I think that people, you don't believe everything that you read in the press, and be proud about what you do. And that's exactly what I'm so proud with what I've done and what I'm associated with, and well, quite frankly, it's
some dude behind his desk.
It's his problem, not ours. And
So Rio, any cool stories from Rio? How was Rio? I just got so many questions for you. How was Rio? Any funny stories with the girls or the guys or anything like that? That you can tell. I mean, not trying to get our proud Australian athletes in trouble here.
Oh well, so in the village there was just athletes everywhere, right? And it was really, really cool. It was a really special thing to just sit back and be like, wow, I'm eating next to world class athletes, right?
The best of the best.
And there's this gym that's in the village for everyone to go to, and what's his name? Novak Djokovic was training there.
Oh, wow.
And I was doing some pull-ups, and then Shane was like, oh dear, Novak's behind you. I was like, okay. And I was trying to do them really strict and look really good with them. And then I was like, get a photo. Anyway, he's trying to get a photo with Novak in the background and stuff.
Trying to do good
form. And I'm trying, because before I was just oh.
He'd be checking your form out. It's terrible form. Is she from Australia? It's terrible form.
Oh man, I was trying to be all tricky and I'm super strong over here.
No facials, it's easy.
All day. And that was a really funny moment that we had. And I got to meet so many amazing people, but also there's so many amazing basketballers, and I think I'm not one to follow basketball, but I do love it, you know, and I would watch it, and I did go and watch all the games, but I was so amazed by how tall people can be and how short people can be. Anyway, one of the really well-known Aussie basketballers that actually plays in the NBA.
Bogut?
Pardon?
Is that Bogut or
Yes,
Paddy
yes.
Mills? Okay, yeah.
And so him and another basketball athlete were there lining up for food, and I asked Bogut to take a photo of me and the taller basketballer, and because I've just had his height, because I was just so amazed. Like I was
Like
up
6'7"
to
and
his
stuff.
I was up to his hip bone, man.
That's crazy.
Anyway, and I told Shane, and he's like, "Are you kidding me? Do you realize what you've just done?" And I was like, "What?" And I didn't realize that he was like the NBA like superstar, like, you know.
Oh, the big dog, one of the
big dogs. I didn't get a photo with him. I got a photo with one of the other ones that was probably one of the guys that was sitting on the bench or something. You know, like it was just
Who was
everyone
it? Did you know
was.
who it was?
No, I didn't really get a name because
It would have been like
I had
Carmelo or
to.
something.
It was like a real quick because I didn't want to bother them,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
the one thing
They
you
get
don't want to
smashed.
bother
Yeah.
them. And I was just like, he's so tall, I want to get a photo with him,
We'll
you
go
know.
get the photo, we'll get the
Yeah,
photo,
yeah,
we'll get the
yeah.
photo.
And
You
I'm
sitting there like that?
yeah, I'm just like, hey. And like everyone was just like, Tia, what the hell? Like, you know, you got, but it was awesome, you know, and we got to meet so many amazing people. That was what was really cool. And, you know, at the end, everyone has a bit of a party and just has some fun time to let loose.
Yep.
And that was a lot of fun. Probably not so much the next day.
Oof.
That was actually a bit
Oof.
messy, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Everyone
like,
was like walking out like that.
Yeah.
Like, he also
We had-
fatigued from the whole time of being there as well.
and like there was the Macca's line. So there's free Macca's, right?
Oh,
Everyone
no.
heard about the free
Yuck.
Macca's.
I feel sick just thinking about it.
Oh my god! I think I had it 4 times when I was over there, and I hadn't touched Macca's for like 3 years beforehand. So like I've overeaten Macca's in those 2
Yeah, yeah.
weeks, but you had to sit in the line for 50 minutes to get these Macca's because you could order whatever you wanted,
Just free everything.
free everything.
That is a
Yeah.
recipe for disaster.
It was.
Oh
I
my
put
God.
on like 10 kilos.
I've
I
just been vanilla
swear.
thick shakes all day. I love vanilla thick
It was
shakes.
so good.
What's
and
your
like,
go-to?
McFlurry.
McFlurry? Oreo?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god,
Love them.
so good.
It is.
So bad for you. Just a couple other questions. Sorry, I'll get you over time. Women in sport and just women in general. It seems, you know, like it's come a long way, but as a male, I'll never understand it. I'll never
Yeah.
get it. Like just the small, subtle things that people might say, or the small, subtle things that women have to do and go through just to be an athlete. And
Yeah.
just there's so many different things that I'll never get. And
Yeah.
I could try and sit here and read a book about it and do all the research I could on it, but I'll never understand what it's like for a female athlete trying to make it in a male predominated dominated. You know, for example, male sports is the networks give it 87% coverage, whereas female sports get 7%. Like all of those statistics. But what was it like for you personally? You know, was it all right or?
I guess in CrossFit it's such a fresh and it's a baby still. You
Yep.
know, CrossFit hasn't been around as long as all the other sports, and I think, well, I am very fortunate that the prize money and that type of thing has been quite equal. You know,
Yep.
there's obviously things behind the scenes and things that I probably would have no idea about that, you know, certain athletes get, you know, all that type of thing. But, you know, I can't actually speak for people that have, you know, been in certain situations. I can only speak for my own experiences. But, you know, everyone has different experiences, and I think some people are less fortunate than others. But also, my belief is, you know, if you really want something and, you know, you want to get somewhere, it's you who has to do it. No one else is going to do it for you. And, you know, I'm always going to have that mentality. And, you know, if I want to have such a successful career and, you know, like I don't want to work after my career is my sporting career is over, and I want to kind of pursue another career that allows me to kind of, you know, do something really fun. Well, I need to start thinking about that and start actually moving in those directions to actually make that happen, because no one's going to do that for me. So, you know, it is hard for some, I understand. And you know, if they have really put in the hard work, well, you know, it's a little bit unfair, I guess. But that's what's really good about CrossFit at the moment, and weightlifting. Like, you know, weightlifting's a little bit different. You know, like there's not a great deal of money in weightlifting, but in CrossFit it's actually quite equal, and I'm actually very fortunate for that. You just got to work really hard to kind of get that first place so that you can get really good dollars. So
and ask all the guests this. I don't know if you're a rap fan. Favorite rapper of all time?
Oh, 50 Cent.
50. Yeah, in the club.
Yeah, I really feel gangster when I start.
What were you? You would have been what when that came out? 16?
I don't know,
just a
but
young Tia, gangstering it up. Probably in a learner's car. Just a shitty little Civic or something.
Oh my god, little Mazda.
Mazda. Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie? So I really like the Avengers and all that type of
comic movies,
yeah. I really enjoy them and think
DC,
like
is it DC? Marvel is smashing DC.
Yeah,
DC
they are killing
terrible.
it.
Batman, I felt like blowing my friggin' eyes out of my head after watching Batman vs Superman. It was the worst movie of my life.
Yeah, it wasn't the best one, but you know, like when you see like Iron Man doing all these tricks and you think, yeah, that's so real, right?
Yeah,
you know,
that's
your
true.
imagination can just run so wild.
Yep. I love it. I love that stuff.
I'm
a big nerd. I've always
It
been
is
that
really
stuff.
good.
If you could have a billboard anywhere on it saying anything, what would it say?
Good question.
It's not mine. I stole it from Tim Ferriss. It's like one of the biggest podcasts in the world.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I can't take credit for that.
So I would probably, I don't know where I would have that actually. Maybe here in Sydney, somewhere, you know. Big everyone wants to come to Sydney.
Yep.
But I would probably have to say be better than yesterday.
Be better than yesterday. I like that. That's cool. That's cool. My what really resonated with me was, what would you do if you couldn't fail? I love that one.
Oh,
I love that one. Like, because you're like, man, like thinking about failing holds you back from so many different things. It does. Like so many different things.
It really does. My biggest fear is failing.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
See, like I've even got it on my phone. But anyway. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
No
I really
worries.
appreciate it. It's been extremely interesting.
Thank you so much for having me.
I feel like I've got another million questions for you, but I know that you probably have to go. But enjoy your time in Sydney. I hope you do. But yeah, thank you so much. And when is the next CrossFit Games and all that kind of stuff? And also, where can they find you and everything like that, people that are listening? Okay, so if they want to follow me on Instagram, my name is Tia Claire 1. Yep. Also, I have like a athlete page on Facebook that I do some posts and stuff. Just Tia Claire Toomey, athlete. And yeah, I think I have a Twitter account that's like just Tia Toomey. So if you search Tia Claire Toomey, you know, everything kind of comes up. Yeah. But for the CrossFit Games, so if anyone does or actually want to get kind of go and try CrossFit and get into it, you know, just Google CrossFit in their local area, like suburb or whatever, and I'm sure that there's going to be something that pops up, and go down there and check it out, because it's definitely something that changes a lot of people's lives. It's changed my life, and it's actually given me a career. So, you know, it's a really great thing. But on the Opens, they start at the end of February and go for 5 weeks, and then you have regionals, which is in May, and then next July is the CrossFit Games. So hopefully I make the regionals, and then hopefully I make the CrossFit Games, which will be really, really fun. So, all right. Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much. And, we'll should come out soon. And actually, if you're in Wollongong, is it going to be in Wollongong? Regionals? Yeah. Yes. I live in Wollongong. Oh, do you? So I might be able to interview you before you go or something like that. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, but anyway, thank you so much. No worries. Love a punt and want to support the Locker Room? Click the link below, sign up, and inbox me for details, and you can be dealing directly with me for a catered betting experience.